The Mesoamerican reef system starts from Quintana Roo in Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, and it comes all the way down past Belize, past the little nook of Guatemala, and onto the northern coast of Honduras.
And then it goes down into some deeper trenches and then comes up in the Utila area, which is about 20 miles west of here.
It's the second longest reef system in the world, and Roatan's very much part of it.
It's pretty amazing how many people benefit from the reef. In our area specifically, we benefit hugely by the tourism that the reef brings in. Also what we get is we get the protection. It's a huge protection to the coastal area. So hotels, houses, beaches, all that stuff, we wouldn't have them in the areas we have them if we didn't have the reef so close to shore to protect us.
Every single square inch of that reef has a life form, has something going on. Everything there is alive, not just little creatures like crabs and shrimp and lobster, but that piece of coral is a living organism that breeds and multiplies every year and lays eggs, and they go off and catch and start a life.
If you look at something and you think, oh well, there's nothing growing there. If you look closer, there's something growing everywhere out there. It's extraordinary, you know, and you get snorkelers that go out there and they stand because they need to adjust their mask. And when you shout at them and say, get off the coral, they say, oh no, there's nothing here, it's just rocks. But it isn't. There's barnacles, there's algae, there's the whole, everything out there is covered in life. It's amazing.
I can talk for hours about coral. It's the most amazing organism that's in the ocean and in the Caribbean on Roatan. And they work just like a plant. They go through photosynthesis, they create sugar, and they actually provide coral with 80% of its nutrients. And that's the color that you see in coral. So when you see just this colorful rock is not only an animal, but it's also a plant. So what happens when the coral is not happy, it can actually kick out the zooxanthella from its tissues. And that would look like a bleached coral. Bleached coral are not dead coral, they're just coral without that microalgae in its tissue. So just, I like to compare it to coral wearing clothes. Yeah? When the water is too hot, when the coral is uncomfortable, it will take its clothes off and it'll just be naked. It'll be white. So a coral that's bleached needs its stress to go away. So that's why global warming is a big issue. Ocean acidification is a big issue. And with those things comes the big storms. Because everything is connected.
As far as the Caribbean goes, we're probably one of the most underdeveloped islands. I think that's rather nice. What amazes me here is that you can drop in the water anywhere around Roatan. You don't even have to ask, is the reef here? It's all around and it's all beautiful.
Diving here is easy. The dive sites are 2 to 5 minutes away. In your surface interval, you can come back to the beach. You can relax and find a hammock, read a book, and then go back on your next dive.
I think we have over 90% of the corals in the Caribbean and over 90% of the coral reef fishes that you can see on any one dive.
We have so much diversity in our dive sites where we can dive and start a dive in 3 feet of water and then gradually slope down to get to 15, 20, 40 feet. And you can start a dive in 60 feet of water and just stay at that depth on top of the reef the entire time. We're very lucky with the diversity of diving that we have here on Roatan.
I mean, we've got a lot of fish. The clouds of blue tang that we get that are so wonderful, that all feed at the same time, so you see them coming across the reef and it seems like they communicate with each other and suddenly all dive down and feed and then set off again all as one group. I mean, they're amazing.
We're not known for our big things. So you're not going to see big sharks or mantas, but you are going to see lots of little things. Lots of nudibranchs, different types of coral. You'll see all the sponges, bluebell tunicates, things that you need to have an eye and you need to go slow to see. If you go quickly, you'll miss most of our beauty on the reef.
We have people who come here diving and have dived all over the world and they still say that Roatan is one of the best reefs still in the world.
The Roatan Marine Park was me and a group of friends, a dive shop owner, got together about 9 years ago, decided we had to do something. And this came about after people like me who've been out here for over 30 years saw it when it was really good and saw it as it started to be depleted. Now we have grown, you know, it's pretty big, it's pretty strong, and more members is coming on, more and more dive businesses and dive communities is backing us. I think we're gaining ground. I think education is key to a lot of what we're going to get done here. We've got to educate people, and people are starting to pay attention. We're starting to get people ears, and we're finding more and more volunteers, local people who steps up and say, yeah, let's do this. We're working hard on reducing plastic use throughout the island, recommending reusable shopping bags, and we're meeting with big store owners now that is coming on board to help us put those in place.
I do like working for the Roatan Marine Park. It's a fun place. The team that we have up there, we work really well together. We work hand in hand with the government, and they help us out. We're responsible for all the marine infrastructure in the marine protected area, so the mooring lines, the channel markers, things that keep people safe going in and out of the reef day and night.
The Marine Park is the only organisation here that really does actively help protect the reef. When the Marine Park first set up, we were funded by the dive shops, but that seemed to be a very limited way of getting funds. And so what we did was produce a bracelet, like in so many other places in the world, where you have to pay to enter into a marine park. So we produced the $10 weekly bracelets and the $3 daily bracelets. The bracelets are very important income for the marine park, and without them I think the marine park would probably have to close. So it would be lovely if every tourist that came here, even if they aren't divers, even if they're just snorkelers, could buy a $10 bracelet. It would really help out with protecting what we have here.
The environmentally friendly way you can help is just be smart. Don't touch the reef when you go diving. Don't stand on the reef when you're going snorkeling. If you see anything that's really pretty, take a picture and don't take it home.
I think the Marine Park are doing a great job. I think we've got some fish that you used to hardly ever see, some of the huge parrotfish that you see much more now. The turtles are amazing out there. I mean, there's never been this many turtles on this, since I've lived here, on this stretch of reef out here.
I feel like there's a generation of people now that is coming up that 10 years from now is going to be doing things more sustainable. And I think 10 years from now we will be in a better place because more people will be realizing that we can all reduce our carbon footprint. I'm hoping that the whole planet will be in a better place.